when you're on the starting block and and the starting pistol is about to be engaged, I'm there. I am there by myself, and I'm the only one with myself. And what matters is, and what matters so when the race is about to start, when the race is about to start, essentially what exists is just me and myself. And so I thought about that. I have all these complications. I have all these complications uh, in preparing myself for that race to start. So there's this preparation. Okay, all that preparation. All that preparation is essentially getting into the big league. Okay. Getting to the big league and remaining in the big league is the ultimate goal. Now there's going to be some oscillation. There's going to be a bit of oscillation, even if I am in the big league. Okay. And then there's going to be constant constatation. Okay. Contestation, okay, contention while I'm in the big league, because there's a lot of people who wants to be in that position, right? So I thought about, I was sitting there today. I had to borrow money from a trading buddy of mine to buy a 10K challenge. Now I'm working on it. And I'm gonna take a little bit of exercise, and then currently it's Asian market. It's currently 6:20. I'm gonna do a little. I think this is probably like maybe a half a mile or something. So I thought about this. See, the race starts. So if I were to look at this, the person who's set in the starting block is essentially the race will be completed with a essentially the culmination of all the things that were done to prepare that person, to prepare me to finish the race, to start the race, right? So the big leagues. So if I look at it, even in the NBA, you have these people who have cultivated their skill set for years and years and years, okay? And there's this natural talent, whether it be physique, health. These are the things that allows that NBA player to be successful in the NBA, right? So I'm imagining myself. I'm at the there's a starting pistol. It's a 100-meter dash, and I'm set, and I'm waiting for that starting pistol to fire. And when that starting pistol fires, then the only thing that I have in mind is to get from where I am to the finish line. okay, and as fast as possible, and faster than anybody else. That's the goal of that's the goal of that race. And so before the starting pistol sounds off, I'm latched in. My legs are latched in. My arms are latched in. My mind is set. I have this, I have this recorded thing that's in my mind that has been played over and over and over, knowing how I'm gonna get from the starting line to the finish line. And I've done this before, so many times before, right? So the idea is to do it faster than anybody else, okay? And do it the right way. Now, at that moment, if I have okay, so if I am psychologically compromised in that situation, then I'm going to be vacating the thoughts that I need in order to be the best racer, right? Because it takes a absolute concentration. Okay, I don't want to be thinking about what the shopping list is while I'm set and ready to start, right? So then, so then I'm at the starting block, and I'm prepared. I have cultivated, I've chiseled myself. I have I have practiced this so many times, okay? And I'm ready to do it. I'm about to go, and I'm about to take on this competition to be the best, right? So I was about to so I made a trade. I made a trade in the Asian market right after I bought it, and it turned out to be a good trade. Uh, but I thought I saw the price behave slightly different than what I anticipated. Okay, and I was befuddled. Okay, because because primarily my expectation is when there is a breakout, I'm thinking, okay, so it's going to be to a certain degree, it's going to be a parabolic move from the point where I enter, and I don't anticipate that there's a pullback that complicates the trade. So so the trade pulls back a little bit, and then I held on a little bit, but I unloaded half of it just to be safe. And good thing I did, because the drawdown was the, the drawdown was about 0.25%. Okay, and then I held a little bit, and that was the lowest point, and started to come back up. Okay, so when that happened, I recovered most of it, but there was a slight bit of loss. Also, had I held it a little bit longer, then the trade would have been a fantastic trade. It would have started out the trade in a very nice manner, right? So then I thought to myself, okay, I thought to myself, okay, so this trading thing is going to be purely based on technique at this stage. Once I figure out what the psychology is and understand that these things do happen, now it's a matter of controlling it, and then making sure that it doesn't happen again, and reducing. And I thought to myself too, like, okay, so mistakes will happen. It does happen, but it'll happen less often. But before this less often thing occurs, it'll still happen. Okay, so I have to minimize that, and I have to accept the fact. So if I say to myself, okay, so if my fingers cause the problem because it is attached to my brain, and the brain is directing it, and then I compromise my mouse finger, okay, somehow, then what good does that do? Okay, the problem is in the mind. Okay, I have to make sure that things are done in a best technical manner. That's the way it is. I'm certain for each of the individuals who are in the major leagues, right? Major League Baseball. What they do is they have for themselves a specific way of doing certain things. Somebody who's a left-handed hitter, somebody who's a right-handed hitter, they're going to have a different mechanics to doing something. Such as somebody who's like 6'6" in the NBA versus somebody who's 6'8" or somebody who is 7'2", obviously they're going to move different, okay? So they have their own unique way of representing themselves in the position that they're assigned to. So then I thought to myself, okay, so these are the mechanics these are the finer details that I didn't anticipate, even though it was occurring every trade that I was taking, right? Every trade that I was taking. Okay, so it's like, see, I've been playing chess for about, since high school. No, junior high. I was playing chess since junior high, which is about 14 years, so I was 14 years old, so I'm 57 now. So that's about 43 years. I've been playing chess for 43 years. But I never improved. Okay, I never improved. Okay? What does that tell you? So that tells me this. I don't have the right moves, new moves, to enhance the portfolio of techniques that I provide the market. And therefore, I'm going to get the same results no matter what. Okay, I'm going to get the same results. Right? But if I am constantly adding and fine-tuning the mechanics of trading, the what happens when certain things occur, then that itself is an explosion. It's like, so there's a concept called what is it called? So essentially, what humanity does is it plants a what is it called? I'll figure it out. I'll figure out what that is. Okay. So essentially, any development and any development into a particular area of expertise requires a seed. And that seed needs to germinate, grow, and fit perfectly well within the environment in order to be successful in that environment. Okay? So if I threw in a pine cone tree in the desert, it's not going to do well. Okay? But if I were to throw that pine cone into the forest where there's a lot of other pine trees, okay, and I nurture it, it's going to grow. Okay? And it's going to be a very strong competing force as it is nurtured and then becomes a very, very strong tree. So I forget this word, but what it means is this, okay? So there's a Superman movie where General General comes over and he's trying to take over Earth to make the Earth like the planet Krypton, okay? So he has to change the atmosphere and things like that, right? And so also, so when what's his face, when Musk goes to Mars, he's gonna start it out. He's going to start a whole new environment for people to be able to surround themselves with a favorable environment for survivability of living in that environment, right? I have to look it up and see what that word is, but so essentially, I was sitting there today, just like 30 minutes ago, and I took a trade, and I'm thinking, okay, so I could have done far better. I could have traded much better than this, okay, and my results would have been far better, okay. It could have been if I had done this, okay. So I was thinking, okay, so if I had anticipated that there was going to be a pullback, okay, then so what was I thinking when I was making that trade? Okay, so how could I have enhanced it? I thought, okay, so what I do is, so I entered because there was a breakout. So there was a pullback after it. There's a pullback after it pulled away from the resistance. Okay, And so I entered, and when I entered, it went up a little bit more because it's a breakout, and so there was strength to that. There was momentum. Then as it went up, I took some profit, and then it started to drop. Okay, then it hit where the support is, and then where that support is, then it held a little bit, and then I noticed that it was a substantial loss with the half a number of trades that I still had, and so I was wondering, oh, okay, is this a loss? Then then the price started to go back up to even. Okay, and when it did that, I closed out my trade. Okay, I closed out my trade, and so I closed out my trade, and luckily for me, the pullback was at support, and then after it went to support, then it started to move back up, and I was able to close out my trade. But had I held with essentially like a 5 micro lot on gold, that little transition, after it pulled back up, it pulled back from a pullback, it pulled back right here. If I had anticipated this and maybe added to it, then it could have gone higher. Okay, much higher, right? So there's some mechanics that I need to be aware of. Okay, there's some mechanics that I need to be aware of that I'm not. There's some mechanics that needs to be aware, because there are things that are intricacies, and when you look through something in a microscope, you tend to see a little bit better. Okay, you see there's more things to see. Okay, that makes up whatever that is being and looked at. Okay, so when you look at something through a microscope, you tend to see far more in detail what it's supposed to be. Okay, so what I learned from this last trade, where I just superficially looked over certain things, because the goal was simply blanketed statement is, okay, so how do I get this wind to work? Okay, how do I make it work? Aside from that, there are details that need to be churned out in order to make sure that the ultimate goal of making a successful trade has these things all covered when that trade is taken. But if I'm taking the same trades over and over without really thinking about any developments or fine-tuning what I need to do, then I'm going to be stuck in that forever loop. Okay, like playing chess for what is that now, 40 essentially about 43 years. Okay, playing chess for 43 years and not learning how to play chess. Really, that's what it means. I'm just forever stuck in the same loop. It's like so essentially you have to evolve. You have to evolve as a human being in order to become good at something. Okay, because what I have information that I am right now is what I was, and what I did not know, I need to evolve into something that I know in order to know something that I did not know. That's evolving. That's what happens. Okay, and so the word is called terraforming. Okay, so terraforming is the ability to take a thought. Terraforming is the ability to transform an environment into an environment that allows me to create a livable environment. And so when I'm at the when I'm set, ready to race on that 100-meter dash, okay, and I have 4 years of training from the last training that I had, okay, or it could have started when I was younger, okay, and I have my mind set straight. At that moment, what I'm doing is I'm vacating my psychology, all the problems in the world. And what I want to do is I want to focus on the mechanics, because I've thought about the mechanics, and then it is only a matter of execution of the strategy that I have. Okay, my mind and body has been sculpted to do that single purpose. And when that time comes, then I have to execute that strategy. The word is called terraforming.